spring football. It's a great, great time. What we want to talk about a little bit today, and Bobby asked me to talk about, is stopping the run. All right. We were fortunate this year, as we got going, that we ended up having a pretty good run defense. We ended up being #1 in the country in rush defense, but that happens for a lot of reasons. You know, I want to get right into it, so as we go through it. Right here, our defensive philosophy, guys, is this: we're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We're not trying to, say we're doing something that nobody else is doing. Our big thing about us is that we want to keep it simple. Every coach has about 900-page playbook. Okay, and again, we always talk about it. It's not so much what we know; it's what the kids know and what they can execute. And that's a big thing that we really believe in. We want to keep it simple. We want the kids to understand how they're going to be attacked, what's going to happen to them, how people are going to go after them. All right? The thing that we like to do is we want to try to make everything look the same. We're a base 4-3, so you guys understand where I'm coming from. We'll do some fire zones, but I'm not going to talk about fire zones here today. But we're talking about our base 4-3 fits. Okay? We want to make opponents one-dimensional. Okay? What we mean by that is this. Our philosophy is this. We want to stop the run and control the pass game. All right? That's what we want to do. We want to take something away. Now, again, that can change a little bit in a game. Obviously, if a team is a big passing team, you obviously want to take away what they do best. But our initial thought going in is we want to make them one-dimensional, so when they get to that point, we can tee off and go get them. All right? Now, we're going to stop the run, like I mentioned, control the pass. And our biggest thing is this. I would love to tell you that we got nothing but 5-star recruits up there. We don't have that. Okay? We have a bunch of great kids that come up there and are willing to work their asses off. Okay? And we got kids that want to be 5-star recruits, which I think makes a huge difference. All right? But we don't want to slow them down. We want to make sure they're playing smart, fast, and physical. That's 3 things they got to have, all right, if they're going to play for us on our side of the ball. All right? Those are just kind of common thoughts as we start out. The next thing as we go through here, all right, just like we talked about, we want to stop the rush. We're #1 in the rush defense, but here, all right, we want to be getting turnovers also. That is critical. We think that changes the game, big deal. All right, I thought we did a nice job in the ACC with that. We're 7th in the country. You can always look for more. All right? Now, the reason for the success is this. We teach our kids, and one of my big statements, and I start with the linebackers, is this. All right? You got to know and understand the call. What I mean by that is this. A lot of guys, they don't go to Boston College to become a football coach. Okay? A lot of them are going to work on Wall Street and be successful in whatever they choose to do. But what I always talk about is this, and then there's Frank Vizzarelli right here, and Boston College education right there. All right, but what we talk about is this: you don't come there to be a football coach, but when you leave, you should be able to coach. All right, you should understand our defense, you understand how it gets attacked and how we can attack them. Those are the things we want to make sure our guys understand as we go forward. We want to recognize the formation. Why? There's tips in it. Everything there is. When you break it down, we have, I'm sure everybody does it in America. You look at their personnel groupings, you look at their formations, and you look at what they do, what they don't do, all right, if they give you a tendency. Okay, and that's one of the things that we want to have our kids recognize formations and try to eliminate some of their doubt. When they can start to anticipate plays, they can play faster. So that when they see things and it gets confirmed, they're ready to go. Big thing is this: align properly. There's a reason for it. Like I tell them, I said, we don't sit around in the summer and the spring just coming up where, hey, we want your foot on the ball just for a reason. We don't just make things up to make things up. We want to make sure we align properly to give you the best chance to succeed. Next thing to us, guys, are our keys. But in particular, when we narrow it down, we always talk about keys. I always want to talk to the kids about their eyes. Where are their eyes? Like, I even like our DB coach being on our side, behind the offensive huddle, so he can see what the kids are looking at. All right? Are they looking at, when they're supposed to be looking at the quarterback, or looking at the tight end, or looking at whoever may be their key? Are they seeing back at the tailback and not really watching what they should be? I want to know where their eyes are. So you'll hear us, if you come to one of our practices, you'll hear us pre-snap. Eyes, where are your eyes? We'll always try to pick out, we talked about it as a staff, we always want to pick out one guy each play. Hey, where are your eyes? Make sure, so they're kind of being reinforced with it. Right? But our big thing is eyes. Where are they focused on? Okay? And then for us, we talk about executing the defense like everybody. But here's the difference. Like we always talk about what every guy's talking about, run 110%. The word we use is we want to strain. All right? We want to strain to that play because that's where you make the play at the end of the play. Right? You always see those guys all of a sudden when they're coming off a block from one of the offensive guys, and one of the offensive guys give them a little tug, and all of a sudden the running back all of a sudden accelerates and runs away from them. That's the part where we got to strain. Like you can show them on tape, hey, right here, you should have cleaned his arms right by now, and now you strain to get away from the block, and you accelerate to the ball. Those are the differences in making the little plays, all right, and where we got to be. And the other thing is pursuit, okay? It's a little thing I know everybody screams about it. We talk about 2 whistles and everything else. And it's just a matter of talking to guys. Our philosophy is we talk to guys this. We might be facing best back in the country, whoever it may be, okay? And he might make somebody miss. He might make one of us miss, right? But he's not going to make 11 guys miss, all right? So he might make 1 or 2, but he's going to get tired of getting hit, all right, before we get tired of running to him. And that's one of the big things we always talk about. He can make 1 or 2 miss, but he ain't going to make 11 miss, all right? And you got to be there. And that's one of the things that we preach to our guys. Now, our general coaching points as we go forward, and we talk about this with everybody. Pad level. Again, that's always a common thread but for everybody as they start out. But we strain it. We talk about it with everything. We go back. Coach Spaziani is a huge believer in we talk about the ABCs. He goes, you can't get to C unless you know A. He goes, and you got to do A first. All right, it's got to be step, stance, hands, eyes, pad level. It's all little things. But we strain to keep our pad level down. All right. I'm a big believer in seams. All right, I'm a big believer in seams, whether it be inside or outside. And what I mean by that is this: we want to eliminate all seams. When you look at it, if you get split, all right, if you get split, that guy's going to hit his head on a goalpost in record time. Everybody looks fast as a tailback when they go straight downhill, right? So you do not. We want to be taking up air, all right, and making every play bounce. All right, we want to make every play bounce. We want to keep things going to the outside. The other thing we talk about is eliminating the seams is the perimeter. All right, if you put the ball on the hash, and I'll show it to you when we get to some of the cuts. You put the ball on the hash. If our outside linebacker to the field is the contained player, I want him to set the edge by the hash. I want that running back, if he's running for width to the field, he's got to put his foot in the ground and make a left or right turn upfield, all right, by the hash. What happens is sometimes guys start widening out and chicken fighting with him and kind of getting out there, and the guy hits the hash and then he starts to climb the ladder out to the numbers. And it's the same thing we talk about with our boundary corner. We see us, we play a lot of cloud support into the boundary. Excuse me. So what we talk about for him, he's not all the time going to dominate a wide receiver on a block or anything else. But if he can set the new edge of the defense by the bottom of the numbers, the pursuit will show. The pursuit will show. If he widens out towards the sideline or gets his ass blocked outside to the sideline, that's where the guy hits the numbers, and again, he climbs to the sideline and runs away from it. Those are where your big runs hit you to the outside. The next thing we talk about is maintaining our vision. We want people to see where the ball is. All right? We want guys to see where it's going. You got to use your eyes. You got to see where your blocks are coming from, whether it be a reverse or a guy cracking, whatever the situation may be. But we want guys to play with vision as they go. And the big thing is this: we talk about shock and shed. We got to get off the blocks. Everybody talks about that. And a little thing everybody knows it. And again, I understand it's hard for you guys, especially in high school. All right, we talk about tackling. I think it's a huge, huge thing that you got to do. And I understand it becomes how much hitting can you do? All right, we do it basically every day. We have pads on. All right, some form of it. All right, not every time we'll go to the ground, but we need to fit and we need to tackle. There's a lot of guys that run to the ball, but when they get there, they can't make the play. We need to get there and we need to tackle. All right, and when we do that, we can't strike the guy at whatever yard strike and he fall forward for 4 yards. All right, we got to tackle at that point and we got to cut down any extra yards. It all adds up. Now, all right, our skill development, what we talk about with our guys is this: we want to develop the skills that translate to game day. All right, we start basically in this: block protection and tackling. We started in individual drills. Everybody has their individual drills. We'll kind of go over some of them here going up. Then we work a combo drill where we're going to work 2-on-2. It'll be the tackle tight end, all right, against the 5 technique and the Sam linebacker. It'll be the other tackle and tight end against the 7 technique and the stack linebacker. All right, we'll work the guard, 2 guards and centers against the 2 DTs and a Mike. And we start kind of getting so everybody's fitting it up. And we're starting to build into this. and we start doing individual drills, one-on-one drills, two-on-one drills, then we go to combo, then we go to half line. We're going to go, hey, put the ball in the hash. We're going to run, whether it be whatever play the offense picks for that day, inside zone or outside zone to the boundary. We're going to fit it with everybody. So everybody sees where they fit, and it's going, and it's full and it's live, except we're not taking it to the ground. And we'll do that to the field also, okay? Then we'll obviously do inside drill, and we'll finish with team, all right? But we want to have a process that we're going to teach the kids step by step. We don't want to jump right to the middle drill or right to the, team drill and say, okay, let's get after it. They got to know where they fit, how the blocks are going to happen, all right? And the three basic concepts to develop that we believe in is movement. All right, we want to get our kids moving, proper alignments, proper techniques, and then attacking the ball. Block protection, again, like I mentioned before, tackling. Now, in the defensive line, all right, here's the things that are emphasis. I know if you guys want to focus on one thing, stop me. This clinic's for you. I'm trying to just give you an overview of what we do, but we'll talk a little bit about it as we go through. But what we focus on with these guys, you'll hear us talk about day in and day out, is this. We want to be our stance, steps, and hands. All right, stance, steps, and hands. Starts an early kick. All right, they're going to Coach Commission's going to work his drills. He's going to take it step by step. Well, we're going to work that. Then we're going to have drills that are going to work his pad level. It will be a point of emphasis. Okay, gap responsibility, that they understand what gap they have. All right, recognizing the block for them is a big one. Okay, whether it be a turnout block, a reach block, all right, or a cutoff. Feeling the pressure and squeezing the play, whichever way it may be, fighting pressure. And the big thing that we get to, and especially with young guys, is they don't understand about escaping. All right, young guys will stay on blocks longer than anybody else. You talk to them about coming off the ball, and we talk about quick escapes. All right, because right now, especially inside, you're going to strike. You're going to start to try to get some takeoff and knock the O-line back a bit. But you don't want to get so consumed with knocking them back that you don't recognize where the play is going. You want to strike, separate, and then you got to get moving to the football. All right? And we'll work a lot of drills with these guys in their individual time. We will work one-on-ones and two-on-ones. We don't think it's anything wrong with it. You take your O-line, your D-line, and we're going to work one-on-ones. We're going to take 5-10 minutes every day, and we're going to work one-on-ones, two-on-ones, whatever it may be. And then down the road, in the pass game, we work the same thing with pass rush, and then twist drills and everything else with them in the pass game. So those are the things for the D-line that we are going to emphasize. Any question, guys, on any of that? Yeah, Coach.
Coach, what stances do you preach?
3-point stance, hand down, heel to toe, back. Okay?
Same for all the interior?
Interior.
Interior?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions, guys? Yep.
If say it's old play, like, do you ever teach them when time to cross face, or they just maintain gap?
No, they'll maintain gap. We'll get to that. You'll see when they see pulls, they'll feel pulls and see pulls, and now once a gap is exchanged, they'll be able to cross face and go.
They choose their hand, or you want out inside hand down, or does it matter?
Inside hand down. Okay. All right. Anything else, guys? All right. In the linebackers, things that I try to focus on with these guys is this. All right. Feet and hands. Okay. They got to be able to move their feet, and they got to be able to use their hands. A lot of kids, as they come in, they get into thinking, I got to throw a forearm in there. Okay. I don't try to have them use their forearms very much at all, unless the block was what I call coming from off the line. If they're getting a fullback coming at them, if they're getting somebody trying to load block them, they got to use maybe a forearm to kind of defend themselves, right? That they're able to get in there and meet force and force. But in particular, the big thing I talk about is using their hands. Okay, they've got to be able to be strong with their hands and get inside and win with their hands. Okay, the big thing for these guys is shock and shed. The one thing that they should have in particular, all right, basically we'll be taking on a number of blocks from the old linemen and stuff like that. They should be out more athletic than them. Okay, they need to be staying on an edge and playing fast and not getting hung up on the blockers. That's one of the biggest things. The guys make a mistake out. Young guys saying, okay, hey, it's a physical game. You got to go in there, and they run in there and they just try to smash the hell out of the guard coming at them or the tackle coming at them. You don't need to prove your manhood on a 320-pound guy. All right, we gave you an edge. We gave you leverage. Show me you're smart too. Be tough and be physical, but be on the proper, have the proper gap responsibility or leverage that we gave you. All right? The keys and fits are critical. All right? I do a drill every week. What I do is I list the top 5 run plays that a team has, and then in early kick or walk through, I'll always go through a re-drill with them. So basically line it up, and we will fit those plays every day. All right, they'll fit it up in the walkthrough just so they get used to seeing the reads that they're going to get, and they should understand it better and be able to see it. As you guys know, at linebacker, we want the guys to see the picture. And what I mean by that is this: they got to diagnose the play. They got to see the ball move and everything else, but then they got to see the entire picture. They got to recognize if it's a one-back set, the extra blocker is going to come from the bottom of the picture. It's going to be whether a guard pulling, tackle pulling, an off-the-line tight end coming back or adding in, whatever it may be. Okay, but they've got to see the entire picture. They can't be just kind of, if I'm looking at Nunzio, I can't just see Nuns. I got to see Ron over here to the side. I don't got to be staring at him just to see his tie, whatever color, what number he's got. I just got to see him pull back around or see him expand that direction. I got to be able to see the whole picture. All right. Again, as we always talk about, we want to be playing downhill, but again, gap leverage will be a big thing too. Maintaining your gap responsibility. For defensive backs, and this is one of the things that we talk about a lot because it becomes a very big factor. All right. Hang on. These guys, all offenses obviously do a good job. They know what you're playing. They've scouted you out. They're trying to figure out. They're trying to get that runner either free or get him to the trying to get him basically to the last defender. And that's why these guys are critical. We bring our DBs down. Get this right. See if it goes there. No. But our big thing is we bring our DBs down into inside drill. Okay? We don't let them hit the backs as run or anything else. But we want them understanding where they fit. We want them understanding how they got to support, because everybody's going to take the play to the final defender. All right, and they got to understand that it's going to be critical, and that the sense of urgency for them to get up and fill the seam, whatever it may be, that they need to be, need to be there. So the things that they're going to work on is going to be footwork, all right, read steps and keys like we talked about again with their eyes, proper fits and support. Proper fits and support. That's the big thing. All right, and the other thing we talk about is cracker plays, which we get a bunch of because we're a zone team. All right, but here's the one that I like. I mean, we emphasize this is webbing the ball in the back end. The big runs can't happen. Okay, we're going to get somebody blocked. They're going to make somebody. They're going to get it to the second level at times. We cannot web the ball or spoke the ball. People call it different things. We call it web the ball. We can't be wrong. All right, if they hit one for 5, 6, 8 yards, we can live with it, but we got to get them on the ground. We got to make them snap it again. Again, it's like this thing that we talked about. If they split us, that tailback all of a sudden looks like an All-American. He looks a lot faster than he probably really is. We want to make sure we web the ball and fit things correctly all the time. So even in practice, we're always talking about tagging off on the hip, but finishing the play. And the bottom line is this is loafs, because we call this out big on these guys. These are the first guys that show up with the loafs. All of a sudden plays away and they're kind of jogging. All of a sudden a guy hits a seam, and all of a sudden you can see the guy reshift his gear and try to catch up to the guy now. You can't, like we tell them all the time, we can't tell you the play that's going to make a difference, but it's going to come. All right, and you got to be on your horse to make that play and be a hero. All right, so we just can't afford any loafs in that situation. Now, the support calls. Our force player basically is like everybody else. Based on a defensive call and offensive formation, must keep the player's inside shoulder, right? Again, we do not create seams, and we got to squeeze the field. We do not want to create seams, and we got to squeeze the field on. We want to take our proper angles, who our pitch player is, right? And other players spill too. And that's the big thing we talk about. We don't want the ball downhill in anything. So again, what we talk about all the time is we want to take up air and spill the ball outside. Everybody, your gap cancellation, you're squeezing down gaps, everything else. We're going to squeeze and replace, and we're going to fit. Any block comes, unless you are a force player, you are spilling it. A force player will keep it on his inside shoulder, all right? But everybody else will spill it to the outside guy. That guy's either run over the top or bounce it out to the force player. Okay? Now, corner force. Right, again, when we talk about this, just basically our boundary corner was the force player we're talking about, ending the C gap. Nothing revolutionary, right? Free safety, force, and alley, right? What we did here now is just, so I try to do is just pull this up, so now you get some reads of our corner force, all right? Now, basically here's obviously VTech giving you a different formation. There's still cloud support up top. This guy's gonna block most dangerous man. He makes a choice. We get a good, our safety gets a good read, he comes a running. But again, my big thing is this. His angle is all right because he wants to be on the numbers. I don't want him running for width. Everything else, we need to squeeze it, we need to come. Now, he better make that tackle, nobody blocks him. All right? So that's what we want to have as a corner force. So everybody knows where to fit, come downhill, and press the seams. Now again, here's now a good look at it. Basically, a lot of times what you see, basically, ball on the hash, pro slots, nuns is what we talked about the other day, right? We talked about this. Again, we're going to get a run here into the boundary. Basically, an outside zone play coming into the boundary. All right, we're going to fit it, knock it. I think he's a little bit soft. It takes him a little bit too long to see it. All right, but he does want to get going and just keep pushing. Again, to me, is this a great effort? No, I don't think it's a great effort. But if you get a guy who's just doing this and he can get you aligned correctly, everybody else will fit it right. Okay, everybody else will fit it right. It gives a chance. Again, we talked about the whole thing when going through it. Like coaches were talking about, you see the guys come off the ball, you see them try to strain. We're going to take up air here, go under blocks. We're going to have a guy running over the top, moving in with it, and then pressing the seams. But here, I want this set by the hash. So again, right here, you get a chance right now. I would like him to be a little bit more physical at the point of attack. I think he uses his forearm too much there. Right? You want to see him use his hat and hands. Yeah, Coach?
Coach, your backside back, he's replaced. You have him replacing the onside linebacker, the strong side, or is he hitting into the? Was he
this guy right here is knocking it out, Coach. He's spilling it.
No,
and the guy's running.
Backside, weak side.
This guy right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's coming over the top. He's got a B gap. If it's fast flow, he's moving over the top.
Replacing a strong guy. It looked like he's replacing strong, like a lateral move coming in with a strong linebacker.
Coach, he's taking up air,
All right.
all right, and he's going to scrape over the top, and he's going to fit off his ass. All right, he's going to go up over the top of him. All right, everything is going to be spilled. We can keep running. I don't want him sitting backside on poles or anything like that. I want him pressing over the top.
I understand.
So anything downhill, he's going to take up air, and he's going to come over the top.
But were you saying that you want him to take that block on the fourth player, like on the numbers ideally?
On the numbers, right? I want him to
Ideally.
squeeze it on the numbers. I don't want him to run around. I don't need him to run around it and try to beat the block outside. If he holds point on the numbers, this kid has to put his foot in the ground within about 10 yards and get vertical. All right, now the chance with the pursuit showing it makes, if he runs for width, that last 2 to 3 yards as it hits the numbers, it starts to accelerate and climb the ladder out to the sideline.
Coach, what's your alignment on the boundary corner?
On the boundary corner, you're going to be 1 by 5. Now again, what I do with the coach a little bit, sometimes based on, this guy, he ended up playing, we ended up having a couple injuries at boundary corner, and this kid did a great job stepping in at the end of the year for us. But it's basically based on, you know, if I'm a senior corner, and I've been around, I'm a good player, I'm going to be a little bit more heads on, you know. And again, 3 by 1, his alignment will tighten down a little bit. If it's, you know, now if it's a, you know, guy, I think, make sure you execute your defense. I'm going to put him about 1 yard outside or out, or tip to tip on the outside shoulder. It's a little bit based on his ability, what the kid can get done.
Coach,
Yep.
your 7 tech. Should he be?
I think he does a bad job here. He doesn't see this pull. He's striking here. Now, right here, he's going over the top. He should now be able to try to cross it. When he goes underneath it, now he puts himself in a trail position, and he's not going to make the play to begin with.
His hands are on contact.
His hands right here should be inside. Now, one of the things he might be anticipating is these guys were a big one-back booster team. They were going to pull the backside guard and run booster here, so he'd be ready to spill the guy if we were getting a booster. Or a power play. When I say booster, it's power play. All right?
That's which one your free techs would do basically.
Let me just... Free technique is right. Demeek is right here. He sees, I would like to see him strike a little bit more, but I think he sees by the stance the kid's pulling, and he's trying to beat it quicker back outside.
So, you want the 7 technique to get it to blow off that guard?
I don't think he's going to get the front side guard on this, Coach. If he can power this kid back, great. He might bubble him even more. But once it does cross his face, now he should be able to get outside. Any kind of pull coming from here, he's got the 3 coming, so he should be able to be moving across the face once the ball commits outside, or the blocker takes him outside. Now, just our linebacker force is basically the same things that most of you guys have too. Sam, right, force player to the field, keeping support. Now again, one of the things is this. I don't get hung up on guys, you know, okay, if I'm taking on coach and the ball's way back in there, I can force from inside, okay? I don't have to run outside, all right, and create the bigger seam and let the guy run through there. Like I said, I get my daughter to stand outside and say, okay, the ball went inside. That's great. All right, I want somebody to be a football player. I want to control the line of scrimmage or the point of attack. And then if that ball's committed inside, I can disengage and fall inside. I can keep them on my inside shoulder. As long as I don't get pinned. You have to have awareness of that, because you'll see a couple of shots of this. All right, with the force field to the field. All right, again, C-gap player is the end. The Mike is basically going B-gap to alley, right? And the secondary force guys are fitting off the Sam and secondary support by the field corner. Now here's a look, and Nuns is a little bit like that play we were talking about. Here's 3 by 1 right here. They're going to try to run the outside zone, I think it's the outside zone, yeah, to the field. Again, we're getting a down block a little bit late here. I think you should have seen it too, but we get underneath it. But this is a good job. Attack the point. Your read tells you, hey, come on, fire your gun, but attack the point. And then right now, this guy doesn't want to block. He doesn't want to on a consistent basis. You get a big ass son of a bitch out there, you better be anticipating the block. They're putting him out there for a reason. All right, but that's a good job in my estimation. The kid coming back inside and knocking it out.
Bill, even though he's inside leverage on him, he should know that that's the block
that's the block that he's got
to go out.
He's got to beat it. Well, that's what I mean. Like he knows right now. Like, any of those 3 by 1s, like if you got it, to me, when you line up. Let me just draw it up here so maybe you guys can see. One of my beliefs with that is this, right? They're going to add the blocker to that Sam backer in some form or fashion, right? And what they're going to do, it could come from there, and he's going to block them in some form or fashion. It could come from there, right? And it could come from there. So he walks away a little bit when they spread him out. And again, the box, the letter, whoever they want to put out there is different. But he's your blocker. He's your immediate threat. So you got the immediate threat on you. So I get run at me, I got to go and attack the blocker right there at that point. Right? It's the same thing if he was here and they were running it, I would attack him here. Or if he was in the backfield, I'd be attacking him there.
So you think you're better off widening? You think you're better off than widening that guy out to play, even though he's inside, play rather than split the difference and try and beat the block?
Yeah, widen him out and take him on a little bit better. I don't want to give the guy too much of an edge here. Nuns come down and seal him. Right. I want to be able to, again, attack force with force. And again, if I felt like he was going against a guy that could get him in his power lanes and squeeze him down, then I'd make him work outside a little bit more. But if I can take him and walk his ass back a little bit, all right, I can contain it from this level by falling back inside. Okay?
Is that allocated on like the hash mark or the number depending?
About the numbers, yeah. Basically, when you get used to those base splits, and I said anytime they give you an oversplit, it's usually an inside run or a run away. When they give him in position to block you, it's usually ball on the hash, him on the hash. He's there for a reason. He wants to block you. Anything over than that, you're not going to expand past the hash. You're not going to expand past the hash. But again, as we watch here, with our kid here, the linebacker, the Sam linebacker to the field, he's got leverage on the ball. And again, fall back in and make a play on it. Again, same thing here. He beats it back inside. He starts to set him up outside. The kid's trying to seal his shoulder, but if you can dip and rip and go, it's the same thing. Right? And here's what we talk about, to me, is we teach it during the week. With this support, it's, to me, this, if you eliminate, as you guys see that right there, and this is how we try to show our guys, this basically is the same as that when you remove that. Those guys are doing basically the same thing. You're going to get the same basic blocking schemes, whatever it's going to be, with that guy blocking support and that safety in the alley. All right? Him blocking support, that safety in the alley. It's the same basic schemes you're going to get every time. So you get the same blocking schemes and you're working it out each time. If you added the guy in here, that's all he's doing. He's out there taking care of the corner. Okay? But it's the same basic force principles right here. I want to take it. It's the same thing. If this kid oversplit us, this kid could take him inside if he could beat him. If he felt he could beat him. You just can't get pinned and let it get outside. But right now, when he's there, if he does it by the numbers, we're in good shape. Okay? So that same look is the same on both sides.
If he lines up outside the numbers, will you ever play him on the numbers, just like the linebacker is, but still understand that he can't?
No, normally he'll move towards him a little bit. Now again, we'll have a split to the sideline and we won't want to cross. You know, we'll give him a little bit. But we won't, you know, if he goes just outside the numbers, we'll stay with him a little bit. Now if he's real tight to the sideline, then we'll stay back inside. And again, now here's one I thought when we watched the end zone here. I thought, here's a good example. This kid was crossing good here. Now, my only complaint to him was this. I said, he had to wait another second, in my opinion, to make sure the ball has crossed. The ball was not out ahead of him. Right? The ball was behind it, and he almost, because he's got to understand, the backers are coming over the top. He starts crossing too quick, that thing could create a seam in there. All right? It could create a seam, but I don't mind he's straining for it. And again, I think everybody keeps pretty good vision on it and squeezes it down. Now again, safety force, obviously we're bringing the safety down. Nothing really changes in that sense. He's just fitting it up. Everything stays the same. Now you get more of our safety support will come either versus open end or tight inside into the boundary usually. But you'll get it, and again, it's the same thing. If he fits, he wants to come. All right? We don't want him to sit there and wait. Come down, read it, and fire your gun. It's almost like a delayed blitz. Once you get your belief that it's a run, good going. All right? Don't sit there and wait. He's going to block most dangerous man. All right? Once you tip it, you got to know you just told him you're coming down, so he's coming for you. All right? Again, as we look forward and we look at this, these guys are doing a better job here in terms of protecting their legs and everything else. But again, we want to squeeze this thing down. I think when we can get this guy to put his foot in the ground, we can squeeze this play down, and there's just too much traffic in there, and the pursuit gets to the guy. When it gets strained out, they want to spread. The offense usually want to try to spread you out, split a seam, and hit it if they're going up inside. If they're trying to get to the edge, obviously they're trying to seal it and kick out and get to and climb to the sideline or to the field, whichever way it may be. So again, we talk about it all the time. We want to squeeze the seams, and any kind of pulls or blockers come, we want to knock it out. Now again, now here you get a counter read. It's the same thing. Get up, don't wait on it. Get up and fit it and attack it.
Coach, your 5 technique just plays real heavy on
that guy.
And we're just throwing it with the
Yeah.
linebacker?
Yes, so you guys understand with us, with our 5 techniques, we like them heavy. Some guys like to put them outside and let them bend. Okay? We feel right now we'd rather have our guys get on and squeeze them on the run game and collapse them down. All right? Collapse them down, let the linebacker scrape and make them right and stay clean. All right? Because a lot of times you see a little bit, again, I'm jumping around a little bit because I think the plays come up a little bit later as we're talking about it. A lot of guys talk about with that, there's 2 ways they want to run that zone play. I should get Frank up here. You go up here and talk about it with your line, Frank. But if they're running the zone play 2, they want to try to stretch you, cut you off, and get that seam up inside. Now they got a lot of space where guys got to all of a sudden get big on defense. They got to blow up and get big. We want to squeeze the living hell out of that guy right there. We want to squeeze. We don't want to expand. All right? He may start to overtake us a little bit, but you're not reached till the ball gets to you. All right? The ball gets to you. Now it's going outside. The linebacker who's got the B gap in that case, if he comes here and the ball's being run and it bounces outside, he should be in that gap and he should be scraping outside. He has a chance. If he opens up out here and he widens, he gets on us and they separate us by any kind of seam, this guy can hit it and take it any direction he wants it up in there. All right? Same thing on the play away. We feel a lot of guys run that ride in the side stuff. So we want him heavy, okay? So you're getting that right in the side. When he's coming down, and again, they'll have the quarterback pull out of it. We want that guy collapsing him down. That guy, we want that guy to feel he's got to be released, trying to get to the backer, but we want that guy closing the thing down, and then he'll fall back out late if the quarterback pulls it. All right, he'll fall back out late if the quarterback pulls it. But we want him to ride his ass down. If he starts doing this and bending all the time, what they're doing, they're basically telling the tackle, Frank, correct me if I'm wrong, right? You tell them that they're going to block the most dangerous man in the B gap. All right? If they realize during the week before that you're bending like that, they're going to tell these tackles now, it's not like the old days. They're athletic. They understand what's going on. They understand defenses. So he's going to hard inside release, and he's basically he's going to go get that guy wherever he goes. So if that guy bends, he's going to go climb on him. If that guy was to stay inside and pin him, quarterback will pull it. Even if this guy bent, this kid slid back out saying, okay, I got quarterback on the pull. This kid's going to come back out and trap him out. All right, and the quarterback's going to end up hitting it and splitting it right there because that guy's blocked because he's chasing that guy going away. All right, it's one of those things. So we'd rather have a gap cancellation, squeeze his ass down like it's a veer scheme. Gap cancellation, squeeze it down, secure the B, and then fall out late. Fall out late. If the tackle turns back out and blocks the 5, then the back will have the B. If the tackle inside releases inside to the B gap, the DN should shut that thing down, and the back should be able to squeeze outside for gap cancellation. Everybody understand me on that one? All right. But just like you said, Coach, as you mentioned, you can see our 5 right here. He's heavy on him, and he's going to squeeze the guy down. You can see it again. We want to take up there. I think he's a little bit loose here, but I'd rather, right there, I think he's got his eyes a little bit on the wrong guy. This guy usually is going to log this guy, and this guy's going to come around on him. So I think the guy ends up coming back out and knocking that. If he's not blocking him, he should be free right in that scene. Now again, we just got one quick shot at Enforce. It's one of our fire zones where this guy's going to fit outside. You'll see the defensive end is basically he's fitting outside, and the linebackers are going to fit inside. Just so, again, you get a chance to see this. It's one of these things, we're going to bring them outside. It's just showing you all of our change-ups in the coverage. We got corner, safety, backer, and end support. You can do different things at different times. But right here, this is going to be easy support. All right. We're going to head outside. Now he's going to fit up inside the backers. Now, stopping the man schemes. Basically the power, counter, and the toss, okay? What we talk about is this. D-line must come off the ball, all right? You got to try to prevent the offensive line from climbing on any kind of double teams or inside releases like we just talked about a little bit with the OT, okay? We've got to see and feel the pulls. And when I say that, that's not only, excuse me, that's not only the linebackers, that is the D-line like we've been talking about. If we're seeing a pull, but the tight end on this, as who's a 7 technique, has got 7 technique on, we're getting a tackle or guard pull. We'd like to see that D lineman cross face once the ball is committed outside. Okay, but we all got to see and feel the pulls coming. All right, any non-force players, like we mentioned before, all right, they should be spilling. They should be spilling no matter what. All right, we want to knock it out to the support guys all the time. All right, again, power play, right, so everybody's on the same page. Basically, you're going to double back here. Hang on, let me just. Again, this is obviously you guys probably all have these in your playbooks, but again, just as we're going through it, so we're on the same page, we're going to just look at a couple clips of this fit. Now again, I was talking to Coach Carson about this the other day. To the backside of twins, you could take that S and make it a corner for us. It's the same fits. That's what we talk about. It's the same read, same fits all the time. We think it allows the kids to really play fast and understand where they're going to fit and where they're going to go. Okay? So you take those guys over, we don't go corners over, we end up keeping the backers for the strength. So if it was a twin set, the Sam would be there, and this would be a corner. But it's the same guys inside, and the backers are fitting it the same way. All right? You go, come on up to Boston. A little hazard right here, right? You time to run out of bounds, take it in the snowbank. Okay? But as we go here, you got a booster here coming here to the field. Again, I think this is a little bit. Right here, this guy's got his eyes on the wrong thing. He fits to the wrong side. He should be thrown on in and getting the guard right here. But we get a decent fit by the backer scraping up inside. All right, again, he should see this right now. As he sees this, he should be down trying to pick the guard, all right, and then these guys should be fitting over the top. But again, what we always talk about, like I told him, he's wrong, but you make him right. You take up air and you stay tight. You'll fit it right more times than not.
Why does he take that? Just because it's open?
It's that big a gap. You gotta be, I said, you gotta be a football player. That thing's wide ass open. If his shoulders are downhill, you better get downhill right now.
Coach, do you ever see the fullback trying to kick the end? instead of
Yes,
stand
we
on
do
it?
get that. We call it like an arc release. Basically, sometimes they're gonna pop 7 technique and then turn out late on the support guy and try to let this guy go down and let him go right now and try to kick him out. We have a little bit of, I think might have a cut of it on something here coming up.
Is that hard for the DN to
It's something you gotta drill, and that's part of like what we talk about, like I mentioned about for the linebackers, we do key drills. If we got something like that, you know, our D-line has to work that each week. How are they gonna run the booster? And even if the team's not running it, every couple of weeks we'll run it just to make sure that we see it, we stay in tune with it. Now, here's a one-back fit, all right, with the backers. Again, our guy jumped around a little bit, but again, it's a one-back booster here to the boundary, and I think it was a better fit here. These guys is releasing inside, so it should be scraping to the outside. It's a good take here by the Will backer on the back. This is Will Thompson from St. Peter's Prep. Does a nice job, real physical. Takes it right there, and again, scraping clean, and again, this guy should be taking air up over the top. Again, to me right here is like we talk about the bottom of the picture. These guys, my guys know right now, if they're going to add an extra, it's a zone scheme, unless they add an extra blocker, whether it be the guard coming this way, maybe a tackle back in the A gap over here, or D gap, I'm sorry, I should say over here. That's how you're going to get it, or you're going to get it from an off the line guy, whether it be a second Y or a back that they motion back in. But again, I think that's better when bringing it, you know, striking, he's trying to get his hands up inside. Now this is one different. We're going against Duke here. And they came to it into a Groucho base, an unbalanced set. They brought the backside tight end off the line, so we had to cheat down to it late. But we got a good guy coming to fit it right. And again, this is what we talk about with our D-line trying to squeeze gaps. There's a nice job by a backside shade on the center, right? You don't want to cross that face till the ball is committed front side. But if you can constrict that backside A gap, a lot of teams would like to run it straight downhill. Virginia Tech's a big team in terms of taking it straight downhill in the A. All right, you get it. I'll give you the end zone here. This is a nice job here by our D tackle right here in terms of squeezing that gap back. This backer right here has this A gap now, waiting for this to kind of climb to. There is no more A gap. Now he's just got to stay on the ball. That, to me, that's a great job by our 2 DTs. They eat up the double team, all right, and the guy kills the center back into it and collapses back. All right, any questions, guys, on a power play or booster in particular? And Coach had a good point. You got to have the little variations in terms of where they'll turn that back, they'll turn that tight end out. They'll basically kind of pop the 7 technique, kind of feel like you get into him, then he's going to turn out on the guy. All right. The counter basically is the same basic type of thing. We want to spill. We want to kick out when we want to basically go under or dig out any kind of kick out block. And then we want to, again, take up air with the backer, and then the other backer should be scraping over the top to the ball. Again, this is the same play before, but you see the backers, again, like we talked about, pretty good fit with it. And it's a pretty good fit as the guys come back over the top. Okay, now here's counter to the backside. Now, I think this is a pretty good fit by some of the guys. It's a good lesson with some of these guys. This is Steele DeVito from Don Bosco right here. He's taking up air tight. Now again, don't bury yourself. Use your hands like he's looking for contact. You know, he's basically leaning into it, expecting to get blocked. You know, play like you're going to get through him. He's got to be able to, you know, keep his feet and go get it. We're trying to dig out the guard right here. All right, but again, stay alive and get after it. Guys, take up air. You got to take up air on every one of them. But again, we want this ball is not going to split us or go downhill. We want everything going to the sideline. Yeah, count now. I can put this one in on this one because here's a good read. It's a good read here by the back he's by our linebacker. He sees the pole start to come back. This guy sees it real slow and goes wide. All right, but you got guys coming back, and I'll show you what we did. We kind of sent the D tackles back here to this side. He's a little bit more, too much up the field, but he gets under it. But he's a little late in seeing the poles underneath. All right, but now when he goes where he should go, he should be right there. If he does that, he's got a chance. We got a chance for a minus yardage play. This is why this becomes basically a +1 play, +2 play, because right now he's too wide. And that's what we always talk about. You're basically, we talk about sparks off the ass of the DN. That guy goes down and that ball goes off his ass. We should have sparks off of his ass right there. Trust me, somebody's going to come to block you. That's their responsibility. They got everybody accounted for too. You don't be wrong and give him a seam to split you in. He should be tighter on that one right there. Any questions on that, guys? Any questions on the counter? Again, same basic stuff. I want to get past the toss. I want to get to the zone schemes. All right, as we talked about. Inside, outside, right? We got split and lead zone that we talked about primarily. Again, the defensive line, you got to prevent the O-line from climbing on the zones. They want to climb and get to the second level, chase the backers, and get on their bodies and ride them by. We got to be able to squeeze. One thing we don't want to do, all right, we'll talk about our D-line. We don't want our D-line running for width. We want them on a zone scheme to be knocking them back. All right, we want them to be. We want those guys to be bubbled back. All right, it goes back to the old days, like where, way back when, you know, Coach Carson, our offense at Bergen Catholic back in the late 70s there. All right, you were going to grind people and you're going to knock them back off the ball. And the old line in the old 50 or shade, a lot of times the D line, I'm sorry, basically they were readers. They were readers. The old line now is a lot more now with the zone scheme. They're more readers as they're kind of zoning, trying to overtake people. And we want to be coming off the ball, trying to penetrate and knock them back and disrupt their schemes. All right, so it's kind of come a full cycle a little bit here as we go through it. But we do not want to expand, and again, like I always talk about, create seams. We don't want that. All right, the linebackers, I always tell my linebackers is this, and that's why with this happening with the zone scheme, those guys are either going to try to turn them out or overtake them, whatever it may be. You're basically aligning your gap. If a D lineman ends up in your gap, all right, it basically becomes a delayed stunt. And what I mean by that is this. Everybody has this in their schemes on defense, where you send that guy inside the B gap. Okay? What we talk about with our guys is this. He's there, you're there. You got the B gap, he's got the C gap. If he zones, if you come off the ball like that, okay, and he zones and takes it over, and he ends up inside, he's now got the B, you now got the C. Make him right. Make him right. Okay? Be a football player. Color in front of your face, you don't want to run up his butt. All right? If he shows in your gap, show there. Now again, when we say this, and we're not giving the D-line free rein to, I'm going inside, I saw a big gap or anything like that. It's either called, but we should be coming off the ball. And again, we don't want to create these seams inside and get split. All right? We want to be able to eat up space and basically cover a zone or cover an area on the field. They're trying to spread us out and split us and hit us downhill. All right? We want to make sure we try to keep it, all right, going east and west, again, and fitting our seams. Now, along that play, we got to keep our gap leverage, all right, and keep the run back on the correct shoulder. Don't overrun it. All right, that's where a lot of times backers start turning. The worst thing I hate about backers is on the inside zone. If they got their hips pointed to the sideline, they're dead. All right, they can't have their hips pointed to the sideline. They're gone. They're going to get run by. Kid's going to put his foot in the ground and get downhill. All right, we have to shed and get to the ball, and a lot of times in the zone scheme, this has got to come from our D-line too. They got to do a good job of staying on shoulders, and then they got to accelerate off to the ball. They're going to get tugged. That's going to happen. That's the way it is. You got to be able to shed, separate, and again, if you're good at it and keeping your leverage, it will show a little bit, and you might get a call, but you can't count on it. You got to accelerate and get to the ball line. All right. Now I'll talk about the linebacker's fallback technique. I'll show it to you. We talk to the guys is this. Our guys will have to understand the zone scheme a little bit as it comes forward. Again, if you guys can't see, let me know, please, guys. But if there's zoning here, okay? There's zone here. Usually this guy, based on the scheme, he might try to kick him out or whatever, but then he'll climb to the back, and I got the B. If he sees color start to cross his face right there, he's turning out like that right there, and he's running hard. This is basically inside zone, okay? This is basically inside zone. So he's trying to push it, and so that guy can hit it. If he gets that guy going there, we talk about a fallback technique. He's now closed your B gap. All right, he's now taking that away. He should be able, if you see colors start to cross, you'll start to set it. So he's coming to get you and pin you. You can fall back. All right, you can fall back on him. All right, because once that guy starts, if he starts getting run by this way, he's going to put his foot back there and get to there, and you can make the play. These guys are working up to this back, they're working up to that stack. All right, so again, we can use a little bit of fallback. If this guy opens up, so that guy now should be able to close your gap.
By coming forward, are you influencing that block?
Absolutely, you want him to come get you. They're doing this. Your gap is attacked. We got to attack it a little bit. We want to set that hook so that guy comes, so that guy's not getting his ass kicked. He can't. It's too long to hold 600 pounds against you. You got to be able to help him get off the guy a little bit quicker. All right.
You have about 10 minutes, Coach.
Oh, okay, thanks, Coach. All right, now the inside zone, just like we talked about, I want to get some of this tape so you can see it. All right. Again, this is against Clemson here now. Again, as we do. Now we should be coming down here tight. But again, all this stuff, like I said, this is window dressing. All right? That's window dressing. All it is still inside zone. Don't get your eyes caught on that. That's based on support. Support will handle that reverse. That's not, the D tackle's not making that play, nobody else making that play. We got to stop the inside run. All right? Now again, this is what I'm talking about here. Guys are fitting it right. Let me go to the end zone. And again, I think this is not a bad job right here by the 3. He's underneath them, and he's showing. You can see he's peeking at him right here. He's trying to locate the back. And as we talk about with our vision, all right, the back hasn't declared, so just keep pushing him back. All right, squeezing the gaps and everything else. Stay on the proper. Now again, he's in the A gap in this case. A gaps, he can fall into the A gap. Now the ball bounces, he's able to fit and give us an extra hitter out here. Now again, there's a lot of little things, guys, when you get into this. Basically, back off set, you know, you want to teach your guys, hey, let's be a little bit looser here. If I'm the nose or the shade away, I got back off set for me. I'm a big zone team. Here they come. That's more or less the one-back runs you're going to get. You want him to loosen up a little bit. This guy, the 3, should get a little bit heavier on. All right, there's not a lot, obviously, zone plays going that direction with the back set that way. So all of a sudden, if they can see where the back is, all right, we set the front. If I'm the shade, I should loosen up off the center a little bit, make his reach block a little bit harder.
So you're saying go from like a 1 to a 2 eye?
No, I wouldn't go all the way to a 2-eye, but we go tip to tip.
Okay.
Like get tip to tip, a little bit more in the gap. And again, Coach, it'll be a little bit by game plan. You know, what plays they have, what runs they have. Now this is a good read right here. This is what I'm talking about here with the 5 technique. All right? Don't run for width. This is what they want. They want you to run for width, create the seam so you can put the foot in the ground. Everybody's turnout block. This play is going inside. All right? They're not trying to seal him. They're not expecting this play to go outside. If it bounces, it's because he's tight. But you do not want to open up inside seams at any time. All right? Now, you want to see a freshman D tackle learning how to get chopped right there. All right? That's a freshman D tackle getting chopped. All right, but again, same thing. Better here. I think he's a little bit too quick. Got to stay a little bit low, but he does a decent job with his hands. But I think it's a good job by our 5. Knock him back. If this thing ended up outside, he always has support outside. We'll get a guy. So now these guys, with the safety coming down, these guys can slide back inside a little bit. Again, now here's the pistol. A little bit of the pistol from what Duke ran. All right, this basically becomes a little bit of the veer scheme. All right, straight downhill. All right, he's basically looking to cut the thing back off the center's ass. All right, as it's going downhill. All right, and you see the good gap cancellation here by the 5, and then this guy coming outside, and he'll be there for the QB on the pull. Go to the end zone. Again, we had it stumped on here, so, but this is a good job here by the 5. Squeeze the thing down, he'll tackle it. Set the hook. Now, one thing this kid, what I don't like he does, he hangs on the block. He's got to press and get off of it. Don't let the guy hang on your arm or your shoulder. He's got to press and get off of it right there. but it's about gap cancellation, again, taking up air on. And again, now, here's the riding the side a little bit, right? As we talked about on the last one, the backer had the QB on the pole. Now, here's the pole to the 7 technique side. All right, everybody's going to stop the run, but he's got the QB right there. All right, so I'll go to the end zone on this. All right, as we sit down here, they're running the zone play with the read to the 7. He wants to sit down and hold here right now. You're running the inside zone right there. That's a hard cutback to the 3. It's a hard cut if your 3's coming off the ball and doing it. If he, not saying they can't get it, he just got to sit his hips down. If he does that, we got to check A gap. If it's washed shut, I'm a bonus player. But here, right now, I should squeeze down. If he cuts back, I can fall to him. But I'm thinking I got QB right here on it as a 7. All right, and again, we've got support. One thing is, we don't want this kid to take it and hang on. What I don't want with the quarterback, the one thing we don't want with him is the same thing. When he takes it, I don't want him to take it and then head here. Okay, if he takes it, and Greg, if you're sitting there, and he runs it for width, we'll chase his ass down. Keep everything going to the sideline. All right, we want to take up every seam. We don't want to expand or anything. Squeeze down, so if he takes it, he's going to have to run for width, and then we got to close on him, and we should be getting hats on. All right, so again, we don't want him downhill. So again, where he goes, even if he runs away from this kid, let's say the kids, they got a great quarterback who can run, like the kid Kaepernick who we played in the bowl game. Kid could really run. Like I said, one thing we wanted was this. Make him run to the sideline, and then somebody will get a hat on him. All right? He didn't want to run downhill. He had good speed, but he didn't really want to run truly downhill. All right? So again, that's what we're looking for right there.
Phil,
Yes?
is that what you were talking about before when tackle releases? So if he would have became the bender,
Not to that side. That's the 7 side. To the 1 to 5 side is there. To the 3 and the 7 side, that guy is going to be a QB player all the way. All right, now here's the split zone. Now, here's a little bit, Coach, of the look you mentioned before. Basically, he doesn't chip him or anything, but he goes, he blocks out. Whoever's coming back at you, he's got to get under it. I think that's a better job by the 7 technique coming off and getting underneath. And again, I think he's a little bit high with his hips, but right here, his gap is gone. He should be able to fall back. He's trying to do it, but he's doing it a little bit too late.
Who's going to fit that, the safety or the Mike's going to line back?
On where? Back here, Coach?
Yeah.
It's going to be the will linebacker.
Okay.
If they had a great job, let's say this guy had turned out. They got a great inside move here, turned it out. He technically would be responsible for that, okay, and he would fit there late. Okay, but I'm not asking him to make a tackle for a 2-yard gain. That's going to be a 5-yard gain. But again, that play should not hit downhill. So the longer it takes to wrap all the way back, we should be able to get there for a 4 or 5-yard gain by our safety. All right, right here by our backers, we should be getting it for no gain play or 1 or 2. Again, here's the same thing: spilling it, seeing the guys coming back and taking up air. You just want to be waiting on it. And the same thing, guys come back. It's a zone play going back. This tackle ends up getting him. You like to see him get over the top. You secure the inside run first. Again, I think they fit it right there. All right, guys. I know it's like you can run through it, and you know there's so much to go through. Here's my thing. I'll tell you what. You guys are extremely fortunate, all right, because of all the resources you have around here. It's something special. The job Greg's doing at Rutgers, Steve Adazio at Temple, all right, Coach P and George back at UConn, which is great. Doug Marone's doing a great job up at Syracuse. We're up at BC. All right, I encourage you, strongly encourage you, take the time, come up and visit guys. All right, you might get one thing out of it, but sit down with guys, get in there. There's nothing more we love to have high school guys come up. We can get you into a film room, and we can come back and we can sit down with you and go over 1 or 2 things. You're not going to change your offense. You're not going to change your defense. But if you take 1 or 2 things back to help yourself next year, everybody here, every program is here for you. All right, Frank's down at Florida again. It's going down seeing him, Charlie, and everybody down there. It's great to have everybody back. All right, we're all here for you. All right, we're all here for you. We don't think we all have all the answers. We have beliefs. We have something that we believe in. Okay, please come up, pick our brains. We love to have it. Thank you, guys.